Hello and welcome to another Amy Reed's home cooking recipe. Today we're going to make what is basically an Indonesian stew, but we call it spludge. Just a bit of fun for us. As you can see in the photograph, you need to begin with this little lot. So you've got spring onions, brown onions, fennel, courgettes, celery, leeks, ginger, garlic, capsicum peppers, baby corn, shiitake mushrooms, ketchup manis, sambal ulek, sambal manis, peanut butter, a good peanut butter please, no sugary stuff, pork loin steaks, coconut cream, that famous double-act salt and pepper, and you're also going to need some tomato puree and a lime. This will feed about 8 people or 6 very hungry people, but if you've got any left over, don't worry. Just pop it into little freezer bags in individual portions and it keeps nicely in the freezer for later. So what we've got here is 4 nice pork loin chops. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting the fat off. Not because we're going to throw the fat away, but because the fat in this case is actually going to be the star of the show in a way, because what we're going to do is crisp these pieces of fat up in a pan so that you've got nice crispy bits of fat to sprinkle over the top of the dish when it's completed as a garnish, if it lasts that long, that is. It's usually eaten long before. So just cut all those little bits of fat off, keep them to one side, and keep the pork loin chop separately like that. Just do one more. And all this fat you'll see in a moment how useful it becomes. And we're also going to use the fat to cook the rest of the dish with, so you maintain all of the flavour. Okay, what we're doing here is we're going to render down all the fat. So this fat is what we're going to use to cook the meat in. Just put some salt in there. And a bit of salt, don't be too high. And just render it down. And that's it, about halfway there. As you can see, lots of lovely fat coming out of there. And these are just starting to turn crispy brown. Another 10 minutes or so and that should be ready. And there we have the end result, as you see. Lots of lovely brown crispy pieces. And just drain all the fat off. We're going to keep all that cooking fat, being careful to avoid spoonerisms. And then we just tip these with a slotted spoon. Just pop them onto some paper towel in a bowl. And those pieces are designed to go as a garnish on top of the end result, but they seldom ever last that long, because we've got to taste them to make sure they're okay, and then they're usually gone by then. Now, in the same pan, whack that heat up a bit, then we're going to start dropping the pork in. And we're going to cook this pork in its own fat. Again, you don't want to crowd the pan too much, because we want these pieces to brown. And standing by, we have this great big thing. they weigh a ton, they hold a ton and they cost a ton, but they are very, very useful bits of kit. Bit of salt in there. There we go, now we've got a bit of colour on the first batch of pork. Just use the slotted spoon and put them to rest in a bowl. Whilst we carry on doing the rest of the pork. Always happens when you're on video. Right, that's the first batch done, and then we're going to put the second batch in. And do exactly the same thing again. And that's the last batch done. Nicely browned off. Just put that in the bowl as well and keep that to one side. And now we bring this great big beastie into play. Put him on there. And all of this is from the pork. There is no vegetable oil in there at all. So I can promise you that no olives or canolas have been harmed during the making of this video. We pour that into the pan and you'll see what happens to that very soon. Okay, this is our mise en place, as they say in France. All our veggies prepared, ready to go in the pan. As you've seen at the beginning, we've got onions, we have got leeks, we've got courgettes, we have got fennel, we've got celery, mushrooms, mixed capsicum peppers, garlic and ginger and little baby corn, whole corn. And that's all ready now to get hurled into the pan. Okay, once we've got our fat from the pork up to temperature, we're going to chuck in onions, ginger, garlic, and celery. Stir. Get all of my onions gently sauteed and translucent. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in there. And I'm going to put a good scrunch of black pepper in there. And we'll just let them sweat down for a couple of minutes. Once my aromatics have cooked down a little bit, I'm going to add a lot of tomato puree, probably half a tube. Nice big tube of tomato puree. As always, it's important to cook your tomato puree out so that it doesn't taste bitter. Just give that a mix and that's us on the way. And now we're just going to add the rest of our vegetables. Any old way, it doesn't really matter. Usually the ones that take the longest to cook go in first. It's a stew, that's what it is, so we don't need to be too fussy about it. This is a great fun recipe. You can just put in whatever you have available. There's no set recipe as such. You use what you've got and stick it in a pot. And in go my mushrooms and my peppers. Now there's a pot full of vegetables if ever there was one. Just give them a a mix in. Just mix them all up, and then we just leave them on a gentle heat for about 10 minutes with the lid on, and they will sweat down nicely. Where'll be my lid? Alright, let's have a look. Now my vegetables have steamed down a little bit, steaming nicely. I'm going to put the meat back in with the cooking liquor and all those lovely resting juices. Give it a stir up, and then we put the interesting bits in. Quick stir, and then we go in with ketchup mayonnaise, which is a sort of like a fermented thickened soy sauce. You can see this is delicious. Quite generous with it. You can always put some more in later if you like. And then something to give it a bit of a kick. So what we have here is an Indonesian sambal. This is sambal ulek. So we'll have a couple of good teaspoons of that in there. And then we're going to have some sambal mayonnaise, which is a similar sambal, but this is more of an fried onion based sambal. Let's have a good dob of that in there, because this is very flavourful. This will be spicy, by the way, make no bones about it. And then to give it that Indonesian satay kind of feel about it, peanut butter. Not a horrible sugary one, please, but one that's just made from peanuts and nothing else. Anything else is going to make it a bit soggy and sloppy and sweet, which you don't really want. So don't be shy with the peanut butter. This is going to give you sort of like a satay sauce with the sambals and the peanut. This will give it a beautiful Indonesian flavour. And some for the chef. So once we've got all that in, we just give it a good mix. The peanut butter will melt, obviously, and turn into a sauce. All we need to do now is just let this amalgamate. And we're going to put it onto a lower heat now, so that all this melts in nicely with the lid on. Okay, let's have a look and see what we've got now. It's bubbling very nicely, nice gentle bubble that will steam all those vegetables and warm everything up beautifully. Peanut butter's melting in there nicely. There's our sambals mixing in well. So what we do now is we pour in a can of coconut milk. This is coconut cream actually, but you can use coconut milk as well. And this will produce a beautiful sauce. Beautiful thick sauce. So we'll just leave that on the heat for a while now after a little stir to bring the coconut milk up to temperature. I may put another can of coconut milk in because there's an awful lot in here. Okay, let's see what that looks like in 5 minutes time. Let's have a look at what we've got now. Oh, there we go. That's at just the right point now. This is the point where you need to put your jasmine rice on, because this is about 20 minutes away, 20-25 minutes away now. I'm going to take it now from the big ring and put it onto a very low heat. Move that onto a very low heat now. Turn that right down as low as it'll go and leave it now for about 10-15 minutes. Okay, let's have a little look. Ooh, that's what we want, barely a bubble. I'm going to leave the lid off now just to let it reduce a little bit, get the sauce thickened. That's delicious. So we'll just let that reduce a little bit. But as always, taste, taste, taste. So let's have a taste of what we got. See if it needs anything. Oh, it's hot. It's salty enough. Spicy enough. Just needs a little bit more ketchup mayonnaise. As always, do this to your own tastes. And your rice shouldn't be far away now. Oh, my mouth's watering now. I'm salivating like a dog looking in a butcher's window. Right, let's leave that for another 5 minutes and get the rice ready. Right, that's it now, and as you can see the sauce is reduced and thickened nicely, a little bit of a bubble going on. So now we finish it off. And we finish it off with the spring onions. See if I can get them in the pan. And last of all, some lime juice. Put the lime juice in right at the end, because if you put it in too early, it makes everything bitter and you don't want that. So this just gives it a little lift. Maybe just a tad more. Taste that now. Give it a stir. Oh, that's gorgeous. And give it a little taste. There we go. Try that on your read. I'm getting nods, so obviously that's it. Okay, the rice is done. This is done. We'll show you a bowl in a moment. Okay, so here we have a nice bowl, some jasmine rice in, and we just put that straight on top of the jasmine rice. Oh, it should be more rice than stew, but that's for me. Thank you very much. Try that at home, I'm sure you'll love it. Bye bye now.
However, this is the key thing for me. The differential between what investors